Let's talk about Villa, the whole situation. When we spoke on the Ball Street channel, it was about the playoff final, the excitement of that. And I asked you, what happens if you don't win this game? And you were like, I don't really want to think about that right now. Like, obviously now you have to think about that. And it's been crazy, hasn't it? Like, I did a little Google search for Villa as I was walking around to me down at the station, and it's horrible, mate. It's like chief executive gone, 4 managers who could take over from Steve Bruce. And I clicked on that, and in my head there was like Mick McCarthy, the picture of Mick McCarthy. I was like, yeah, exactly. And then there's the whole financial thing, which is just so scary because you want to be a Premier League team, right? And I remember all of this. I'm going through all this now, and I remember when I was little. I know I'm still little now. When I was little, we went down to Division 1, and then we went down to Division 2, and then it was awful, but then we got back up. But then there was this little period where we had no money. We were just hanging on, a bit like now, hanging on. And I remember thinking, are we going to be like a Barnsley, like too far away from getting in the Premier League again? And you would never think that could be a possibility with Villa, but it's a worrying situation. For people who don't know the full situation, can you try and explain it?
Yeah, I mean, in my head, to be honest, I still haven't accepted mentally that we're even in the Championship. It's been 2 years, but it feels like it wasn't that long ago we were like battling for top 4 with Spurs. It doesn't feel that long ago, and you look at the different trajectories that there's been of Spurs, and you look at where we are, and it's frightening. I mean, I think we've gambled on going up over the last few years, and it obviously hasn't happened. So
how much have you spent?
I wouldn't know, but it's too much for a Championship side, and I think we've got wages that aren't really sustainable. And
is Bruce done a bad job there?
I don't think so, because I think he's had to do a big clean-up act, and I think we've underachieved by not going up. Yeah, but when it comes down to a playoff final, obviously it's 50-50, and I think he's had to probably do a lot of things that fans don't even know about.
Yeah. Villa are in a strange position because on one hand they have sellable assets that can offset their expenditure in terms of wages, but also bring huge amounts of money in for transfers. But it's almost happened a season too late, and the gamble happened when you're bringing people like Snodgrass and the guy from Borough. What's his name? Adama Traore.
Adama.
I mean, there's a whole lot. The
left hand side.
But there's a whole list there. You look at that team that played the final. Goalkeeper Johnson, who's on loan from United, was it?
Yeah.
But you had El Mohammadi, Premier League, isn't he? He's probably going to be in Premier League wages. You've got the whole team, mate. Like Alan Hutton, Terry, Chester. Midfield was Jedinak. Whelan was on the bench. You've got Grealish. I imagine his wages were decent enough.
No, he's actually one of the lower ones.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. But even
like Hogan on the bench,
Kodija, is it Kodija? Kodija. Who when he came on in the semi-final actually looked decent. He had quality about him, and he's proven Championship goal scorer. There was thought behind the business that was done, but it was all based on qualifying or getting promoted. And when it didn't happen, that's when the kind of chips fell.
I mean, Keith Winers, the chief executive, who's now gone, said clearly there was a plan in place for if we don't go up, but I'm not sure what that plan was, and it doesn't look like there was one at all, because now we don't seem to know which direction we're going.
So
I mean,
what
fans
can
don't
we expect from Villa next year? Are you going to be pushing for automatics playoff? Are you
Thinking about yourself there.
What?
Thinking about yourself there.
Yeah.
Can we just have a moment of down here? So we're like, but so are you going to be a challenge or not?
I do. Cause a little bit.
See straight through you.
What is Villa now? As James said, are you just a mid-table nothingness? Are you lower mid? Are you going to have to?
I don't know that at this stage we don't know whether Bruce is staying. At this stage we don't know if we're selling our best players, holding on to it.
Are you going to maybe go with that?
The problem is that squad is the average age is high. You've got a lot of people over 30, so you're not going to be able to sell them too easily or for too much, and they'll be on contracts that are high, and so if you're going to go to another club, these clubs aren't going to offer those kind of wages.
Yeah.
So if you're on your last contract as a footballer, and a lot of them are like journeyman footballers, I mean, if you can say that with the amount of money that goes about now, they're going to go, sorry, I'm not leaving to take 15k and go play for Forest when I've got 30k here.
And that's the problem. I mean, we have to be literally giving people away and probably paying a percentage of their wages. And I mean, I'm not going to have too much of a pop at him because I don't. At the end of the day, he's been given a contract and he signed it. But Mika Richards hasn't played for a year and a half. Really? He's sitting there on 35 grand a week, and he's not fit enough. He can't stay fit to play.
So, what's that? Is that like, right? Okay, it's like a knee injury or
yeah, I think. But he's not gonna. No one's gonna come and buy him. No one's gonna come in and say, "Oh, we'll take him off your hands." He's got another year left of picking up that money, and at the end of the day, we gave him that contract, so we've only got ourselves to blame. But the trouble is, we've spent a lot of money since we've been in the Championship, but then we've still got people who are on high wages from the previous regime as well. Our Bondahor's contract's only just run out, and he's barely played over the last 2-3 years.
What would he have been on?
He'd have been on a healthy sum. He'd have been between 30 and 60, I'd say. So it's just not sustainable what we've tried to do, and we've found out.
It's sustainable if you go back up.
Yeah, and we haven't.
And there is that opportunity to gamble when you go down. I think Don was saying to me that there's 14 teams in the Championship that aren't
doing the financial fair
play. Aren't doing it properly, and they need to sort it out. Yeah. So it's not just Villa. Like Middlesbrough spent so much money. Derby has spent loads of money and not gone up season after season.
Well, Middlesbrough are in the last season of rolling the dice now. I think they're where you were this time last year.
Yeah, I mean, we're
still
still
got one
more
good go at it, like a chunk of it anyway.
Yeah,
if Borough don't go up next year, I think they're going to be looking quite similar to where you guys are now.
Yeah.
What do Villa fans think about that?
I mean, first off, losing the playoff final was my worst experience as a football fan.
Was it?
Oh, horrible. I've never experienced anything like it. Just I've seen us get hammered in cup finals. I lost to Arsenal a few years ago in FA Cup final, but losing that playoff final and knowing the implication that it has on your next season, losing FA Cup final doesn't change what league you're in. No. Simply you lose that playoff final and it kills you. I mean, Reading lost the year before and they had a rotten season the next season, so I think psychologically it's a problem. And then obviously the next 2 weeks, just everything just keeps blowing up. Every day there's a new bad news story, as is the way in the press when things are going against you. So it's a shit time.
You're so right about the losing the Championship final, playoff final. Sorry, not to. I mean, you know how bad it is. You don't need me to tell you, but that could kind of stall your progress for 5 years, 10 years. You don't. You could do a league. No,
he's right.
He knows. For Leeds, I always compare.
Maybe he hadn't thought about it though.
Yeah, you can see in his face. He knows what's going on. But if you recall, do you remember Leeds got to the playoff final? Maybe 2-3 years after they'd been relegated to the Prem.
Like Blackpool or Watford or something like that. Might be Watford. They got done 3-0
Watford or Palace or something like that. Yeah, they lost it, and I think what happened to them at that time is, I hope not for your sake, similar to what happened. And then it just went. They rolled the dice on that season, lost the playoff final, and then they got relegated, and they've been struggling since. And I keep thinking back to that.
Last question on it, mate. And then we talk about World Cup. All right, let's try and raise it. No.
Okay. I feel alright. Look,
Tony Xia. There's a lot. There's so many foreign owners now of clubs, but there's always a go-to kind of, no pun intended, but they're like the villain. Aren't they? There's like what's his name, Vincent Tan at Cardiff. Or I remember.
They love him again now. They're up.
Is he still there? Is he?
Yeah. But there is that like dun 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 for these different guys because they come in, they promise the world, and it can go wrong. Like it looks like it is. What's the thought? What are the thoughts on him by Villa fans?
Again, I think because we don't know the full story. I mean, I think in the main at the moment it's negative. Yeah. But it would be because the stories coming out aren't good. From my point of view, I've spent a tiny bit of time with him. I know. I think I'm a decent judge of character, and I think he's a good man. I think he's got the best interests of Villa at heart. I just think he's been completely taken for a ride and been advised really badly. And obviously we're going to have some kind of lawsuit now with the ex-chief executive. I think his heart's in the right place. I just think he has made mistakes.
Yeah. Can I just say about football fans? This is the thing, is that everyone will look at him and what's his name?
Tony Xia.
Yeah, and look at him and go, well, he's obviously a shambles. He shouldn't be, he shouldn't be the chief exec of the club or the chairman of the club. If he did what football fans want on a very base level, he speculated, and he hoped and aimed for success and glory. That's all fans want. So fans then can't turn around and go, well, he's a prick because he spent all that money recklessly. Yeah. That's what fans want, all of us. Yeah. All of us around this table. Yeah. We want him to spend well, and I know you've been burnt especially bad at QPR.
Thank you.
Jose Basinga.
Thanks.
And
Yep. Okay. Carry on.
There's some others, isn't there?
Make your point.
My point is the fact that in my eyes, although he doesn't come across as the most conservative chairman, he's very vocal and especially on Twitter and whatnot. It's not exactly what you want, but the way he's behaved in terms of the transfer market and buying quality Championship players, he's done the right things to get them up. It just hasn't quite happened. In 90 minutes, you can lose any game, and they did in that playoff championship. So I think to be too harsh on him now would be hypocritical.
And the other problem is the funds are there. Some of the funds are there, but you can't get hold of them because you can't take the money from Chinese business.
The laws have changed since he came, and the thing is, Villa wanted someone who communicated with the fans, and I don't think there's another owner out there that communicated with the fans. Okay, he's got to be quiet now. Now things are bad.
That's what happened with Tony Fernandes. He did the same thing. He's gone quiet now because it is difficult. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Well, this is why I have a big problem with fan media, and we're all a part of it. Like, I make my living out of it.
Actually, we are all.
Yeah, I make my living out of it. But by and large, fans don't know what they're talking about, and they're the most reactionary people on the planet.
This is where we started the podcast with that sentiment.
Yeah. Well, basically, fuck football fans.
Yeah. Why are you listening to this?
Fuck football fans.
What are you doing?